Alright, welcome to the extra honorable mentions and finale part of this series. Basically what this is that I'm gonna quickly go over just like anybody else who comes to mind, and they didn't really have enough for me to include in the main video because there isn't too much to say, or they don't feel as big of a deal or as urgent or as important to get in. But that doesn't really matter too much in the end. But anyway, there's a lot to go over here, so I'm just going to get started right away and go with one of the biggest and best ones here, Dillion. Dillion, of course, is from the Western Rolling series, and he's been assist trophy in 4 and Ultimate. People were really expecting him to be a newcomer for 4, and then that kind of flips in for Ultimate, but hey, he would be cool. He's a big part of the 3DS line, and he would represent a new series. And moving on, I'm going to be talking about Fire Emblem characters. Now, people like to overly complain that there's quote-unquote too many, but who the fuck really gives a shit? It is honestly a bit like Pokemon, where each new game introduces a slew of characters, and everybody has their own favorites. And there's still a lot of characters that people mention what they want to see, like especially Lynn, who's been in assist trophy since Brawl. A lot of people really want to see her added. I also get Hector heard mentioned a lot. Hector is a big heavy axe user. And then this was more so for 4 for myself personally, and then I didn't really care so much in Ultimate, but it would still be cool to see, is Anna. Anna, unlike a lot of the other characters, is somebody who has appeared in several games throughout the series, and can kind of represent it as an entirety like that. She was first playable in Awakening. And my idea of a moveset is that she uses a Killing Edge for her base attacks, and can also bring out a Luffian sword, but use it properly. Unlike Robin, she can shoot thunder from it. And she could also use a Brave Sword. Well, maybe the Killing Edge could be used for some specials and smash attacks, and Brave Sword is for base attacks. And her final smash could probably involve summoning Tiki, who also is one of the few characters she has a support with in Awakening. And then this is a popular character to bring up during Ultimate's development, is the Black Knight. He ended up being an assist trophy, but a lot of people thought he could make a cool echo for Ike after Crumb got turned into Roy's echo. And yeah, that would be really cool, and he would be a new villain rep also. Next, I'm going to talk about Mother C's reps, and I'm going to start with 2 characters I was hoping who would get in as echoes. The first is Geog, or aka Gygus. I hope I pronounced his first name right. But he was the antagonist of the first 2 games, and he looks like Mewtwo, as you could probably see on the screen, and people were hoping that he would be this oddball who ends up echoing Mewtwo from it. And I thought that would have been really cool, and I was also happy to see him get that kind of support near the end of Ultimate's development life cycle. And I could be wrong, but I don't think Gig even has a spirit, so there's that. And next is Ninten, who I don't think has a freaking spirit either, if I'm remembering correctly, but a lot of people were hoping Ninten could be an echo of Ness. And they could update and change and stylize and take some liberties with his appearance a bit to make him look more different from Ness. And then that way we would have all 3 of the main characters of the Mother series in. And next is somebody who was a big talk after the game came out, which is Porky. And Porky, of course, is almost kind of like the primary main antagonist of the whole series. His spirit is completely missing in Ultimate. He's the only previous boss character to not have one. And people were thinking that he could have been a character because of that, and for Mother's 30th anniversary. And after that is Masked Man, who's like an assembled Dark Horse. He is an antagonist from Mother 3, the final boss of it. And he has a very strong and popular cult following, and I can't blame them at all. Next, I'm going to do Kid Icarus characters, and the first one I'm talking about is Faridi, who people think could clone Palutena. Not necessarily an echo, because Faridi is much smaller than Palutena. She would be needing a different model, so she could just have somewhat of a clone moveset, if anything. But she has like a kind of small popular following. I know that Super Mario T especially really likes her and really hopes she gets it no matter what. And after that is Medusa, and Medusa could work just as a Palutena echo. They're both relatively the same size and such, and Medusa could be like a dark version of her. And that would be kind of interesting because I think Medusa would be the first character that Nintendo didn't come up with. Medusa, of course, is like an old Greek god, but it would be their interpretation of her. And speaking of which is Hades, who was the antagonist of Uprising and got really popular. And Hades was mentioned in the comment section by one of my previous videos. I believe it was your boy Alan. And next I will be talking about Pokemon series reps. And the first one I'm going to do is Eevee. Now this is an idea I heard before the E3 trailer even happened, and I thought it sounded pretty cool, is Eevee is just Eevee, but then when you use attacks, such as specials or smashes or whatever, Eevee will momentarily transform into the evolution whose power it's using. And that could be really interesting, maybe pretty freaking complex to develop, but there's plenty of crazy characters in this game. But unfortunately for Eevee, a lot of people feel like that Eevee's chance was either before Pokemon Go or Let's Go, like the hype around that, or it being topical was Eevee's only chance or never, so that's kind of a shame. But regardless, Eevee would also be the quote-unquote only first-gen starter left. And next I'm going to talk about Meowth, and I bring up Meowth because he's kind of like a rival to Pikachu almost in the series. And Meowth, apparently, this is only rumor, but he might have been considered for the first game. And if we have everybody here, why don't we get, like, freaking everybody? And Meowth could be an interesting character, perhaps. He's been a freaking Pokeball item since the beginning of the series. I think only Melee excluded him as one. And maybe, speaking of Melee, maybe they can have Meowth with his guitar, like in that tech demo or Pokemon channel. He could have a lot of personality to him. And after that, we would need a rep for Gen 3 and 5. Those are the only two reps that don't... Those are the only two gens that don't have a rep yet, excluding 8, which is coming up as of this video. And there was a fake leak beforehand that said Gardevoir was coming in, along with Gothitelle or Echo, like to fit every gen in. And that leak ended up guessing Richter, so it gained a little bit of following of an attention from that. But I just need to say, I still think the best Gen 3 Pokemon would be Sceptile, just because it's Sceptile, he would be real cool, he's real popular. And then I'm not sure for Gen 5, probably Zoroark, that could work. And I'm also going to take this time to bring up Plusle and Minun because they were supposedly in Brawl's Forbidden 5 or 7, I think it was. I keep on forgetting. And they would work as kind of like a duo character, such as the Ice Climbers. So, hey, that could be fun also. And next I'm going to bring the 2 Yoshi series reps. The one base roster original game character series that does not have more than 1 rep yet, even if it is technically a bit part of Mario, but hey, it counts as its own series here, so I'll do that. But Kamek is the character who appears throughout the whole entire series with Baby Bowser, and a few people threw that out there as the extra Yoshi series representation. So yeah, that could work as a fill-in rep. And then Birdo, some people are insisting Birdo could have been an echo of Yoshi, with like the main difference being that Neutral B is more of a suck than a tongue. And I guess Birdo technically would just be thrown in as Yoshi series representation, just because Birdo gets paired up with Yoshi a lot in the side games. I mean, eggs. I don't think Birdo has ever actually appeared in any of the Yoshi's Island games, though. And next, I'm going to speak of Donkey Kong series reps, and the first one I'm going to say is Kiddy Kong, because Kiddy Kong is the only character from the original 3, not including Dixie, who really should be in at some point, who would not be playable that way. And then that also leaves Cranky from Tropical Freeze, and Cranky has been around since technically the original, because Cranky is the Donkey Kong from the DK Arcade. Then next I say Funky Kong, because Funky Kong has also been playable, and even then he was like the next most popular Kong who didn't used to be playable in a main game. And a lot of people were saying that Funky could work as an echo for Donkey Kong. Funky Kong is a pretty popular character. And after that, I'm going to say Silex from Metroid. Silex was mostly popular before Ridley was in, and some people are still thinking that maybe the too big thing would be a problem, so Silex can get in as another character. But he still has somewhat of a following, even if it's calmed down. A lot of people do think he's going to play a major role in Metroid Prime 4, so maybe he could have a chance to be in, and he could make a pretty cool and interesting character. And I'm also going to bring up Captain Syrup, because this was mentioned by somebody else. Captain Syrup is from the Wario Land series. She could be another Wario series character, specifically Wario Land, like I just mentioned. And she's a villain from that series. And after that, I'm going to bring up Animal Crossing reps, and I'm starting with Tom Nook. A few people thought Tom Nook would have came along with Isabelle during that trailer, but it was for New Horizons. And yeah, Tom Nook is kind of like somewhat jokingly seen as the antagonist of the Animal Crossing series, so that's a funny idea to think about. His attacks could involve around money bags and furniture and selling stuff. And I'm also going to say KK Slider, just because KK Slider is a really popular series who's a special NPC that appears throughout the whole entire game library. And it's a dog with a guitar. I mean, you can make something off of that. And for Star Fox reps, I'm going to bring up Crystal. Crystal was the most popular Star Fox character who was wanted after Wolf got in Brawl. And she ended up being an assist trophy, and she could be the most unique, or like only completely unique character in her if they ever play around for her staff from adventures like she does in her assist. And I'm also going to bring up Leon. I'm like the one person who was like this, but I always thought Leon could be neat because he could be like Wolf's Falco. It's just a thing to think of. And I'm also going to bring up a Pikmin captain. I'm kind of surprised that Louie wasn't included as an Echo Fighter, and apparently Alpha almost was, even in 4, because there's data showing that Rock Pikmin were going to be used, but that never happened, so Rock Pikmin are just left out. Could you imagine Pikmin Enemy being playable, though, like freaking Emperor Ballblex or something? I mean, anybody can get in. And I'm also going to bring up some retro reps like Clue Clue Land, who apparently was considered for Melee like many other characters, but that didn't happen. And then Balloon Fight. Balloon Fight is a somewhat talked about choice for retro reps. Iwata did work on it, so it's known for that. And Balloon Fight is kind of like a classic character, even if it isn't as mentioned as much. And I'm going to say Wonder Red from Wonderful 101. Wonder Red was kind of a popular choice for Smash 4, and then that kind of stopped after Ultimate, but there are some people who still want him, and I've been hearing Wonderful 101 getting brought up a lot again recently, coincidentally, probably because of Astral Chain coming out, and some people are saying how Wonderful 101 is still on the Wii U, but he can make a good new series rep. And this is also stuff I'm just string at the ball. Imagine a pilot series rep, like one of the pilots or something, or the Penguin. That could be interesting. They would have really good recovery, I can say that much. But yeah, that's basically it for here. But the main point I want to get is that anybody can be in. Like, this is infinite. Like, I'm just going to stop here, but otherwise there'd be infinite parts. They're always going to be making new games and new characters. And anybody who's a part of Nintendo is allowed to be in, and you're allowed to want whichever character from there you want in. Like, I didn't mention him, but I want Daroke from Kirby. I think he would be really fun, and I love that character. And freaking Kit Kat from Animal Crossing, he's just a normal villager, but I wouldn't mind seeing him being playable sometime. He could be fun representing the normies. But yeah, feel free to say whoever you would dream of being playable someday in the comments section, and have fun, and goodbye, and thank you for watching the series.